You ever wondered what it's like to tour one of the biggest countries in the world? Well, there's late night shows, early lobby calls, daily noise restrictions, and some venues that maybe just aren't set up to accommodate touring. But there's also one of the best sounding venues in the world and ridiculously awesome crowds too. In this last year, I've been touring everywhere else around the world, but it's finally time to show you what it's like to tour my home country, Australia. What's up? We're in Perth today. Flew from Tokyo to Hong Kong and then to Perth, passed out, and now it's hot as hell. Good to be back in Australia though with blue skies.
Like, subscribe, tag 3 friends. Welcome back to the channel.
Let's go. Perth is so far from my home in Melbourne. It's like flying from New York to LA, except there's no other major city on that side of Australia. Production for this venue was actually handled by the same company that I'd hired the D-Live off locally, so when I walked into this venue, it was already set up, plugged in, and ready to go. Shout out to CCA for the hospitality on that one. I've never actually been to this venue, and acoustically, this one was weird. It was absolutely rocking at front of house, but kind of just odd anywhere else in the room. It's an old theater, and despite all the carpet on the floor, it's washy and wide up front, and for loud rock and metal, it's kind of just drum spill everywhere in this room. But hey, that's just part of live sound. So we got in, set up, and rocked the first show it took. Adelaide's almost halfway across Australia, but it's pretty close to Melbourne too. Here's me finding a way to run my own cat line. This venue's been around forever. It was previously known as Fowler's Live, but I think in 2019 received a bit of a makeover and a name change to Lion Arts Factory. Now it's an L-Acoustics PA in here, but it's still a big reflective box made out of brick, and there's no acoustic treatment anywhere either. Fun fact, my front of house console was set up on the edge of a bar here, so I had plenty of empty glasses coming my way during the show. You noticing a pattern here? Each capital city in Australia is about a 10 to 12 hour drive, and there's no real tour buses here, so for this level of touring, you kind of have to fly everywhere. Considering you need to be at the airport early, fly 2 to 3 hours, collect your bags, and then drive to a venue before midday, there's not a lot of time for sleep on back-to-back shows, and a lot of people get sick from touring this country. But so far, I was doing fine, and we're flying home to Melbourne. The Forum is probably my favorite venue to mix in the world. It's got a nice big stage, a well set up front of house area, and there's plenty of room in the wings to set gear up as well. Melbourne's actually the biggest show of the Australian tour, which is always exciting. So we got audio set up nice and simple, did sound check, and then rocked the show with both bands.
Melbourne! Right here! Right now! I tore a hole in the fabric of time just to bring you home! Our bodies go between dimensions. Constant motion in another state. Arriving at nothing but a steady pace. This is
Actually got to go home after that show, which is nice, and then we got a late flight into Hobart the next day. Hobart's a little island at the bottom of Australia, and it's honestly rare for international bands to make it here, but the crowds honestly make it worth it if you can. This venue's a tight little space, and despite dealing with power issues or finding anywhere to put gear, we made a gig happen. The show schedule for this one was a little later too, and I think Erra started about 30 minutes later than usual, but with a travel day the next day, this wasn't too bad. Oh yeah, I ran my own cat line here too. After leaving Hobart, we headed to Wollongong, which is a small little coastal city just south of Sydney, where we had a show in the university. Forgot to mention, every day of this tour has been incredibly hot, and this day was no exception. I actually didn't film much as a result, but the guys got up, battled through it, and played another show.
Sleepless nights, hearing voices, hearing whispers, expand like disease.
Gosford, or as every tour flyer calls it, Central Coast, is just north of Sydney, so it's an easy drive for this one, and we're at a venue called Drifters Wharf. Now you can either load in through a tight space and stairs here, or there's a forklift available, and thankfully one of our drivers was able to help us out and make this load in a little quicker than it could have been. Most of the venues in these Australian regional cities are kind of tough because they're also pubs for locals to eat and drink at during the day, and with that in mind, making noise is kind of unwanted. So I ran my cat line, tried to get every band to set up everything they could, and then the moment we were allowed to make noise, ripped through a sound check. There was a solid no noise restriction for dinner here between 5:30 and 7:30 p.m, so a later show means that Erra didn't leave the stage until about 11:20 p.m. That one probably wrapped about an hour later than we'd usually try to finish show, but we've got a 9:45 a.m. lobby call with a short drive to Sydney for the next show. The Metro in Sydney might be the worst load-in of tour. Maybe it's the tease of being a lift load-in, but it's not very big and often stops at times, and you've got to load in through one venue, walk down a hall before you get into the next venue. So I didn't film a lot. I kind of spent most of my time just carrying things upstairs so I could get them in the venue quicker. Soundcheck in this one's also really weird. The PA's up against a wall on one side, the floor is concrete, and you're raised on stairs. It's always a bit washy and bright, but it comes together once the show happens. We also had a disco loadout here. Remember how I said there's another venue? Well, all our cases had to get pushed through an active nightclub. Brisbane's the last show of tour, and fun fact, I actually grew up here, and tonight's show's at the Tivoli. I watched a lot of shows here when I was younger, so it's always nice to come back and do a show of my own, but Brisbane's also a city that hates noise. Like any small venue I can think of around this city is usually closed because of noise complaints. It's kind of sad at this point, and even though this venue is just outside of a busy nightclub district, it's still got a silly noise restriction in place until 5 p.m, so we've got a late rush sound check, and that's just another day in Australian touring. The upside there is that it gave our band some time to eat, relax, and maybe even get a nap in before they had to be back at the venue. Once it was time to make noise though, I did a virtual sound check and got ready for the show.
By a self-replicating passenger! Ghost!
We love you. Thank you very much.
We are connected by loneliness! Of the deathman, in flight, in secrecy, in a faraway dream.
As you can see, it's very different out here. My time touring America and Europe has often shown me great hospitality, showing that earlier schedules and show times can happen and function well for everybody. Every show was great, but this Australian run just felt like each day had its own little test, whether it was taking up time running my own cat lines, not being able to make noise when needed, or just trying to cram in sleep where possible. It's not always like this though, and I look forward to showing you more some other time. Peace.